Welcome back to Just the Facts Horns, y'all. My name is Jimmy. Today we are going to do a Texas Longhorns preview and prediction video for the Baylor game. Texas, number 3 Texas, travels on the road to take on an unranked 1-2, struggling, beat up Baylor team in Waco, 6:30 Saturday night. I'm going to do a preview and prediction video. I'm going to talk about some overarching stuff first with the Texas football program, and then I'll head into the, keys of the game and give y'all a score prediction for this game. So 3-0, baby. 3-0 for the first time since 2012. Love to see it. It's crazy that we haven't even been 3-0 since that time frame. I know we play a lot of Power 5 opponents every year. In a non-conference, every single year we've played one. So, that plays into a role in why we haven't been 3-0 since 2012. But here we are. Nonetheless, this is one of our best teams in a while, and I'm so excited. We beat Bama, and a lot of people might think that's the test to determine whether Texas is back or not, whether Texas is good again, whether Texas is back to the glory days. I don't think so. I think that in order for me and a lot of Texas fans and even people around the country who aren't Texas fans, who are just college football fans in general, I think the barometer was not that Bama game. Not because Bama's struggling, not because Bama is not what they used to be. I think there's something bigger, and that is beating teams you're supposed to beat week in and week out. Texas, like I mentioned before, they're always going to show up for Alabama. I had no doubt we were going to show up in both of these games in the home and home series against Bama. No doubt we're going to show up against OU every single year. No doubt we're going to show up against whoever the top 2-3 teams in the Big 12 on any given year are. We're always going to show up against a good Kansas State team. Most of the time, sometimes against TCU. Oklahoma State we would be ready for. But other games against Kansas or against Texas Tech or against Baylor, Texas tends to struggle and lose these type of games they're not supposed to be losing. Now, if Texas wants to be the program they want to be again, you have to win, and not only win, but dominate in these type of games. And Texas has not done that in years. So the biggest test moving forward for Texas is winning the games you're supposed to win week in and week out. Yeah, you might have a couple close calls here and there. We saw that all throughout college football this past weekend with Florida State, Georgia a little bit, even Michigan struggled a little bit. We saw that. It happens. But we let that happen too often, and that's why we end up losing 4 or 5 games a year. We slip up in those games we're supposed to win. The Texas Tech game last year, we were supposed to win. The Oklahoma State game last year, we were supposed to win. Granted, both of those were on the road, tough environments. Cool, we were the better team in both of those scenarios, lost both of those games. We have to stop playing to the opponents. We have to stop playing up to competition. I hate that phrase so much. That's been plaguing us 3 coaching staffs in a row now. We play up to competition, but we play down to competition as well. We're going to struggle against these teams that we should be handling easily. We have to play to a standard. We have to play to our level of play, and we have to let other teams have to match our play. That's how you become great, and we haven't figured that out yet. Let's see if we can figure that out. Texas is a 15-point favorite heading into this Baylor game, and with good reason. They should be able to cover this game. The things I'm going to be looking for is Quinn and his consistency, and let's see if his mechanics are going to be lazy. Let's see if he's going to overthrow guys that are wide open. Let's see if he's going to be late on reads and stuff. We're going to see if the receivers are going to catch the ball this week. We're going to see if on the defense, if they can hold their gaps and stay in their lanes. We're going to see if they can make tackle. We're going to see if they can do this on a consistent basis. So touching on Baylor real quick, they have been struggling in 1-2. Baylor got a home win last week against an FCS opponent, and we can't really take much from there. But what I can say from Baylor so far is they have not looked good. Blake Shapen got hurt in the first game versus Texas State, a game they probably would have lost even if they had him, to be fair. Texas State's a tough group of 5 team, but they should have handled them nonetheless. Blake Shapen's out. Their running back, Dominic Richardson, is out. They have a backup backfield with the quarterback and running back spot. Now, Sawyer Robinson has not been good at all so far. 28 of 62, 45% completion percentage, and only 444 yards, one touchdown, three interceptions. Not good. He does make up for it a little bit with his legs, just a little bit. Nothing too concerning, though. We should be able to get a good amount of pressure on him. And the thing with Baylor is they've given up the most pressures in the Big 12 by far, by the way. They've only given up, I think, 3 sacks the entire season. So that plays right into our struggles, at least from last year. We get hella pressures. We were top 5 in the country in pressures, but we were nowhere to be found on the sacks list. Now, can we bring the quarterback down? That's going to be the big thing, especially this guy is inexperienced, a backup quarterback. Can we get pressure on him and bring him down? Can we pressure him into mistakes? Can we pressure him into being flustered and, rushed? If we do that, I think there's nothing to worry about. But if he has time to sit back in the pocket and kind of go through his reads and pick us apart, there's going to be a little bit of trouble there. There's going to be a little bit of us struggling, I think. But how our front four, front seven have been playing this season so far, I don't see that happening for Baylor. So I feel pretty good about how we're going to play against the quarterback. Now, their run blocking is not good. We don't even give up 100 yards a game. So the rushing game, I'm not concerned with. Although Richard Reese is the starter again, and he gave us issues in the past couple years, so we're gonna see how he does there. Familiar playing us, he gave us fits. He's given us fits, and I think he can have a pretty decent game. If you lock in on him and really force Baylor to be one-dimensional, I think we'll be fine. Like literally, we have so many guys that are on fire right now, from Barron Terrell, T. Sweat in the middle, Byron Murphy. Shout out to him for that touchdown catch last week. Anthony Hill coming in, Ethan Burke coming in. Those guys off the edge are insane. And obviously Jalen Ford, it's not much to be said about him. So our front seven has been really stout so far this season, and let's see if we can keep that up. On the other side, I'm not concerned about Baylor as much either, although they have given us trouble, and other teams in the Big 12 has given us trouble with the 3-3-5 type of multiple defense. Baylor's small on both sides of scrimmage, well, mainly on the defensive line. So we should be able to run the game. We should be able to go to Pound Town with Jonathan Brooks. I think he gets stronger as the game goes along. I think Cedric Baxter will be back in this game, so he'll get carries too if he's available. We have to establish the ground game. We have to establish physicality in general in every single game. I think that's going to be a key to the game for me in every remaining game. Can we be physical at the point of attack in the trenches, especially on the offensive line? Inconsistent last week again against Wyoming. How are you going to play great on the offensive line against Bama and all these 5 stars and all these big dudes, and then against Wyoming and against Rice before that, we struggle with assignments, we struggle with physicality. I don't understand. So the offensive line, they're under my microscope. I'm going to be really on the lookout to see how we play. I know Cole Hudson's out for at least a couple weeks, so we're going to see what Campbell can do as a full-time guy for now. So the offensive line just has to step up, man. We have to start converting 4th and 1s instead of having to resort to a Savion Red package. Although I liked it, we shouldn't have to resort to gimmicks and packages to gain a yard at the University of Texas. That's just how I feel about it. So I want to see us getting the run game going early and often, just because also I want to ease Quinn into the game as well. And this is going to be like a weird type of environment. Baylor at night. I think they're doing a blackout or something. You can say, well, Quinn played well at Bama. That's, as best as you can play in as best of a stadium, right? He's going to play up to competition and play down to competition. So I want to see us kind of ease Quinn into the game, give him a couple intermediate throws here and there. And what teams are starting to do now is starting to, except for Bama, starting to play a little bit deeper. So we have to complete the intermediate stuff. We have to complete the short stuff. And that's Quinn's strength. So they're playing right into our strength. So if we can hit a couple of deep balls here and there to keep the defense honest and stretch the field a little bit, I think we'll be in good hands, because this Baylor defense does not impress me. And it's kind of weird because that's one thing you can kind of rely on with Dave Aranda and his teams even Matt Rule and his teams, they're going to be a tough, hard-nosed defensive team, and they haven't been that this year so far. So if we can go to Pound Town with Jonathan Brooks and Cedric Baxter and even Blue, I think we'll be good there. So now Sark has talked a lot about how now we're getting off to slow starts and we're finishing games. The last 2 years under Sark, we were off to a fast start, all gas, no brakes in the first half. As the second half rolls along, we run out of gas. We were figuring out why. Conditioning or scheme or combination of the two. Now we're starting off poorly and we're finishing games off very strong. We've scored 21 points in each of the last 2 fourth quarters. I think probably in the Rice game, we scored double digits in points as well in the fourth. I don't know what it is, but I think we should start putting together 4 quarters of just consistently dominating football. I want to see us get off to a quick start because if Baylor's in this game and the game is 7-3 midway through the second or 14-14 at halftime, you're putting yourself in risky waters there. And honestly, I don't think if we're in that situation, I wouldn't feel too panicky. I wouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, we might lose. I honestly wouldn't feel that way until we got to the fourth quarter and it's still really tight. But we don't even want to risk that. We don't even want to play with fire, man. Just stop playing. The saying, stop playing with their food and just eat it. And Baylor, they look like some good steak right now, and we got to eat it. So if we come out there and handle our business, put our foot on their neck, so to speak, all gas, no brakes, go up 21-0, go up 17-3, we should be fine. We should be fine. So this is Baylor's Super Bowl. So wherever all the stuff I just said right now can go out the window, and Baylor might show up for the best game of the season. We've seen it so many times against Texas. This is the Super Bowl. Their last time playing us for at least a while. They're gonna come for us. And if we meet we meet force with force, we should be good. Give me Texas winning this game 34-17. I don't think Baylor should score more than 17 or even like 20 points. They shouldn't. The offense is not good. Our defense is really good. And we're going to score 34. I would love for our offense to crack 40 for once and just have a consistent game overall. But I don't know if that happens yet. So give me Texas. I think actually this happens next week against Kansas. We'll score 40 plus. Their defense is even worse. But give me Texas 34-17. They should cover. They should handle this game no problem. And yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know y'all score predictions for this game against Texas. What are y'all's keys to the game? Do y'all think Baylor pulls the upset? Y'all let me know. But this is Jimmy from Just the Facts Horns. Hook 'em.